Imagine learning that your husband failed to defend you when your in-laws purposefully excluded you from a family holiday. Would you change the course of events, or would you overlook it? This narrative is the tale of how I made them regret ever underestimating me by turning the tables and exposing the lies. The journey is filled with treachery, revenge, and unexpected empowerment. Remember to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell for more if you enjoy stories about strong comebacks, unexpected family drama, and advocating for yourself. Let's get started now. This is the story of how I finally had enough of my husband's family treating me like trash and how I used their own planning to flip the script. I'm not proud of how far I went, but I also don't regret a single thing. A family vacation took a dark turn when his parents booked my husband's plane ticket, but not mine. His mother sneered, and my husband just sighed. Maybe you should sit this one out. I smiled, pulled out my phone, and said, "Oh, don't worry, I already took care of everything." Security arrived minutes later, and what they revealed left his parents yelling. I'm 36 years old, married to my husband Ryan, not his real name, and we've been together for 7 years. We live in a mid-sized city in New Jersey, and I work full-time in corporate event planning, such as gas conferences and private product launches. I don't say this to brag, but it's important later because I know how to book things, pull strings, and work systems. Ryan works in it. He's smart, laid back, and occasionally passive. His parents, who live in the suburb close to Charleston, South Carolina, are very traditional and set in their ways, and they made it clear from the beginning that they didn't. When I was first introduced to Ryan's parents, his mother, Gloria, made it clear that she didn't think I was good enough. She would say things like, "Oh, you're not a Southern girl? Who explains it? Don't worry, dear, you'll learn to cook properly one day. You don't want kids, do you?" I assumed Ryan would want a family whenever we visited them, and it was tense if I cooked. She criticized me if I dressed up, calling me flashy, and if I dressed down, she said I had no style. His dad wasn't as bad, but he followed Gloria's lead. Ryan always dismissed it, saying that's just the way she is, or that she'll get over it. However, the longer we were together, the worse it got. A few months ago, Ryan's dad turned 65 and declared that he wanted a family vacation to celebrate his retirement. Gloria sent a group email with plans for a week at a fancy, all-inclusive resort. She said they'd take care of bookings for everyone, and we just needed to confirm our availability. I replied that we were in, and Ryan was thrilled. It would be a turning point spoiler. 2 weeks prior to the trip, Ryan received an email with booking confirmations, which he casually showed me one evening while watching TV. I glanced at him and asked, "Where's my ticket?" He scrolled again, strangely, as if it were a separate email. We checked nothing, found no hotel information, just one flight, one room, and one name. He texted his mother, who replied, "Oh, I didn't think she was coming. We only booked for the family." I stared at Ryan, and he stared at his phone before looking at I nodded slowly and said, "Maybe you should sit this one out." He didn't ask if I was upset. Instead, he assumed I would stay behind. That's when I realized I wasn't just being excluded, so I didn't argue, cry, or even bring it up again once. 5 minutes later, Ryan boards alone. He walks past first class and sees me, opening his mouth to say something, but the flight attendant nudges him forward because we're already late. He disappears down the aisle. I hardly saw him during the flight. I assume he was in the back with his cousin or something. The captain then comes on the intercom and says, "We're experiencing a slight delay while we finish resolving the passenger issue at the gate. We appreciate your patience." When we landed in Papana, he remained silent. Naturally, I got off the plane first. First class deboarded early, and a driver holding a small sign with my name on it was waiting for me. I got into a black SUV with the air conditioning turned up and a cold coconut water in my hand. There was no line, no shuttle bus, just calm. Ryan texted me again, asking where I was and where we were still waiting for our bags, but I didn't reply. The resort was an enormous, stunning Caribbean paradise, and I checked in at the private VIP area, where I was given a welcome cocktail and shown to my suite with an ocean view. My butler, Javier, introduced himself. I asked him to bring me fresh mango juice every morning, and he said, "Of course, Stenora." For the next few hours, I didn't even think about Ryan until about 7:00 p.m., when I had a balcony tub and a fruit basket that I didn't even touch because I was too busy feeling like a damn queen. My phone lighted up again when I was reading a book by the pool. I ignored the first call, but the second one was a text message asking if we could talk at the main check-in. I grumbled and told him to meet me in the VIP lounge area, but he wasn't there. Allowed in there, but I thought I'd make the point. He entered like a sweaty, wet dog, dragging his carry-on, sat across from me, and after a moment of silence, I asked him why he hadn't told me that you had planned everything. He flinched when I asked, "Why didn't you tell your family that you were married?" I said, keeping my voice low, "What's not fair is me finding out that your parents booked a trip for your family and didn't include me." He rubbed his face, "But I didn't think it was a big deal that they left your wife out. A family vacation, and you doubted that was a big deal." He looked away, but then he said something that really irritated me. "You embarrassed my mother," and I stared at him. "You mean the woman who said that I wasn't part of the family and who lied about it?" He looked weak and pathetic, and I stood up at the airport, just like her. He tried to say something else, but I simply walked away. I had dinner reservations for one, and the following day I discovered that his family had a resort buffet dinner planned for the entire group. I wasn't invited, of course, but guess who walked right by the restaurant in a flowing dress with a cocktail in her hand and waved to this girl, Ryan? Gloria called his dad and muttered something to her, and then I got a text from Ryan asking if we could just talk tonight. I said yes, but only because I had other plans. Here's something I forgot to mention earlier. One of the companies I work with, let's call them a luxury experience provider, had recently partnered with this exact resort, and I had a consistent relationship with them. They offered to give me a spa package and dinner at the upscale beach cabana when I mentioned that I would be staying for a few nights. The package included full service, candlelight, and all the bells and whistles. So guess who I invited? Ryan's Aunt Gloria, because she was the only person who ever treated me like a human being and always asked how I was doing. She sent me a thank you card after our wedding, and when I said yes, I told her that it was just a girls' night out and that we deserved a break. She laughed and said that Gloria would lose. I grinned and said, yes. He knocked on my door that night. I didn't answer, so he waited in the lobby. Then he saw me and his escort to the beach by a resort employee walking right by the bar where he was sitting. His mouth literally dropped open, and he got up and started walking toward us. The staff member politely blocked him. "I'm with her," Ryan said, pointing at me. I turned around and said, "No, you're not," and continued to walk. After the beach dinner with Ryan's aunt, Carmen, everything became hushed, and I didn't hear from him for the entire next day. I knocked on the door and got no response, so I assumed he was making up an excuse or stewing. I spent the day getting a hot stone massage, going snorkeling with a small tour group, and then sitting under a palm tree to listen to an audiobook. I didn't care where he was, but the silence didn't last until about 5 p.m. When I returned to my room and opened the patio door, I discovered Ryan sitting on the furniture on my balcony as if he owned the space. He must have paid or had a nice conversation with someone at the front desk. Honestly, that made me even more angry. I stood in the doorway with my arms crossed, asking, "What are you doing?" He looked tired, his eyes red, as if he hadn't slept, and we needed to talk. I didn't say anything, but he said, "I'm sorry, not you're right, just why are you doing this?" He said, "I almost left you. You let your family exclude me," then defended them, telling me to stay at home like a dog. He then leaned forward. My mom stopped bringing her. He clenched his jaw and muttered something under his breath when I said, "You told me you would rather not come, that you said you weren't interested." I blinked and stared at him. "When did she tell you that, for example? 2 weeks ago, you told her that you didn't want to do family things anymore and that you weren't feeling close to them. You believed her when she showed me a screenshot of a message, so I thought it was real. Now that I was boiling inside, you assumed I messaged your mom to say I didn't want to go on, or you didn't ask me, you didn't confirm with me, and you didn't even mention it. You just accepted that your mom had a screenshot that was likely fake and let her uninvite me to my husband's family vacation." His voice got so loud that I didn't know what to believe, so I got up. "No, you just didn't want to deal with the truth. You didn't follow me." Later that night, I got a knock on my door, and it wasn't Ryan. Carmen was holding her phone. "I believe you. You need to see this." She sat on the couch and showed me her screen. It was a WhatsApp group chat about a family. Ryan wasn't in it, but Gloria was there. The black and white was evidence that Gloria had written that she would have a tantrum, but once she realizes we've booked for family only, she'll get the hint. They'll go either way, as he always does, and maybe he'll remember who he is after spending a week away from her. I stared at the screen in shock. Carmen sighed. I didn't say anything before because I would rather not be in the middle, but after what I saw tonight, I think you should be aware that she planned all of this that evening. I sent Ryan a screenshot of the messages with no caption or explanation, and he didn't reply. When I woke up in the morning, I discovered 5 missed calls and a lengthy text. I swear to God, I thought you were being dramatic. I apologized for not responding, but I got dressed and went to breakfast, where I noticed Gloria and her husband Carmen sitting at a table by the pool. The table became quiet, so when I passed her, Gloria raised her eyebrows and attempted to smile, saying, "Good morning." I paused, took out my phone, held up the screen with the messages and said, "You forgot to leave the group chat." Her smile disappeared, so I turned and left. So there I was in the middle of a luxury resort's breakfast area, holding up the family group chat messages like a smoking gun. Gloria's face drained of color, her fork frozen in midair, her husband looking perplexed, Carmen looking away, everyone else not so much. A few other relatives at nearby tables noticed one of Ryan's cousins squinting at the screen, and another whispered about 20 minutes later, while I was halfway through my omelet, Ryan appeared. His hair was a mess, and his voice was loud. I stared at him, wondering why your mom lied to you, why you believed her over me, and why you allowed me to be removed from your family vacation. He looked as if he wanted to yell, but realized he had nothing to stand on. I didn't say anything more, just turned and walked to the breakfast buffet like it was just another Tuesday. I didn't feel proud or powerful, I felt numb. Gloria got up, and her voice echoed over the patio. "You know what I did? I left you out because you never belonged." The whole breakfast area went silent, the chairs stopped scraping the utensils, and the people paused mid-bite. "You changed my son. He used to have dreams and was close to his family. But now he's just your little lapdog." Ryan looked mortified. "I left loud and sharp, meaning that your son stopped dreaming when he realized that you only support him if he complies with your wishes. He stopped being close to you because you guilt-tripped him every time he made his own decisions, tearing this family apart. No, I said you did that the moment you chose to book my husband's plane ticket instead of mine, the moment you lied to him, the moment you forged a text message to make me appear to be the issue, and the moment you've at a message." Ryan looked like someone had punched him in the chest, quiet and pale. "And you showed me that message." He said, "You told me that Gloria said those things." Gloria didn't answer, Mom. "Tell me you didn't fake that still silence." He turned to me, his voice shaking, and said, "I am so sorry. I should have trusted you. I should have asked. I don't even know what's real anymore." But I didn't answer because nothing he said could undo the damage that had already been done. Ryan's mother, without saying a word to anyone, stormed out of the restaurant, grabbed her purse, and left. Carmen remained silent, but she later came over and put a gentle hand on my shoulder, saying, "I'm sorry you had to go through all that." She's never handled losing control well, and Ryan's cousin muttered something cruel, leaving Ryan behind. After a while, he said, "I want to fix this." I looked at him and asked, "I don't know if you can." He nodded slowly. I knew we flew home, and 3 days later, he offered to change my flights so we could fly together. I told him no. Back in New Jersey, he asked to move back in, and I told him I needed space, not because I didn't love him, but because I wasn't sure if I could trust him again. We began Coop's therapy, and the first few sessions were brutal. He sobbed and repeatedly said he felt like a fool. I kept saying I felt like an afterthought. Is there a clean ending to this? If your mom hadn't sent that phony message, would you have fought for me to be there? He didn't respond, and his silence told me everything. Ryan and I are still married, but technically we're on vacation, and he's staying with a friend. He stopped communicating with his mom after she refused to acknowledge what she did, telling the family that I had manipulated him and that I was twisting everything. Classic. Some of the family believes her, while others don't, and I continue to speak with her. Gloria is upset that the family's reputation suffered, and I'm tired, not angry anymore, just tired. I've learned a lot from all of this, including that being excluded isn't always an accident, it's a decision people make. I used to believe that being courteous was enough to gain a seat at the table, but now I realize that if you have to fight that difficult to be considered family, perhaps you're at the wrong table, and if your partner ignores that and permits them to dine with those that didn't include you on the guest list,